Where's the AIDS? How you doing, everybody? You're jumping into us right here. We are mid-show. We get together and have coffee on these certain Fridays to celebrate the end of the week. And we are. We're learning a little bit of anatomy, which we'll get to later.
Yes, and we are NoLimitsRadioTV.com. That's who we are.
Yes, the rules
this is
go over
us.
our face.
Yes, it's the rules go over our face.
Totally
And you can see we're not in the studio this week, and that's because we are at Gildas Club, Grand Rapids.
What a wonderful thing, and thank you people in the crowd that to let us here. How neat. Thank you so much. I love this place.
Thank you.
I went to the first driveway, that's why I'm 10 minutes, I was going to be 10 minutes early.
Oh, you went to the neighbors.
He banged on the door. No, it was a house.
Yeah.
And an old woman answered, and I said, I'm coming in. She said, no, you're not. And then there's a guy about 10 feet behind with a shotgun. Feet don't fail me now. Back to the car, and then I finally saw
Then you flash back to your first wedding.
Police are probably driving me home.
Oh, is that what you
Oh, that's nice. I actually screwed up my wedding. My first one. It was my fault.
I'm sorry to hear that.
All right, we have our prop set. You're watching No Limits Radio TV, and we're focusing on the TV because we are moving to a new studio at home, a WKTV, a bigger and better one, but we just don't know how to design it. I have my ideas.
I have mine.
You have your ideas, which I think suck because...
Because they're not yours?
Well, yeah, I was trying to... Hey, look at that Wi-Fi.
My gosh. Okay, so if you're wondering who's sitting here,
Or if I'm wondering why I'm sitting here.
exactly why she's sitting here, she has to do with LaughFest.
That's right, and that's what we're about today.
Yes.
And
Wendy,
LaughFest, the whole purpose of LaughFest is taking...
would you like to say who you are before?
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, I'm going to put a pregnant pause in there, a syncopated beat where she can just jump in.
Okay, you go, man.
She's my biographer too, and she also, when we're in public, she talks
Did
for
you give him
me.
speed today?
It's Gatorade, yeah.
I'm also his moral compass when I'm not doing so well.
I took my Ativan late in the day, so anything goes. A little bit about LaughFest.
A little bit about
Gildas, yeah.
Yeah, well, Gildas has been around for 15 years. We're about providing free cancer and grief support to anybody on a cancer journey of any type, any age, any type of cancer, any gender, and any kind of grief of any kind, not just cancer related. We just celebrated our 15th birthday of being open to the community with our free services. And
it's free.
It's
Want to
all
make that
free.
point, yeah.
Absolutely.
No insurance or anything like that.
This is true, and we really kind of survive and thrive from donations. LaughFest was created 6 years ago to really
To help
kind of
fund this project?
Well, honestly, the first thing it was to really create awareness of who we are and what we do. And, we wanted to do something to kind of celebrate in the community. If we threw a cancer and grief festival, not too many people would come. But if we thought we did a laughter festival, because it is the only festival of laughter in the whole nation, we figured if we could get people to laugh, we could get them to listen. So that's where we're at, and it's been we're going into our 6th year, about to deliver the 6th year of LaughFest.
That's great. And Wendy, tell us about your role in it, so we have a good understanding of who you are and how you know all this cool stuff.
Well, and I've been here since 2009 in a different role, and then the last couple of years been serving as leader for Gildas Club and LaughFest, and just wowed by the incredible team that we have here that delivers both the cancer and support as well as the grief and LaughFest.
I can honestly say, being a Chicago boy, this would not have worked there. Because I see people embracing, and I hate to use that word because it's such a passé word, let's embrace and celebrate everything, right?
Yeah.
Let's embrace Flint's water. Okay. It wouldn't work there because people don't help each other out as much as I do see in Grand Rapids, and I don't know why that is. It's a phenomenon.
It's really interesting because I think it was last year or the year before, Jim Gaffigan?
Yeah.
Okay, so he was here, and we had to follow up with him. We kind of forgot to give him his check after his performance, so followed up with him, and we started to talk a little bit, and he actually said that this isn't something that just could happen anywhere. And he said there was something very unique about the West Michigan community. So it was kind of cool that he picked up on that as well. So it is something that I think we've had, we happen to be the busiest Gildas Club in the whole nation of about 45 affiliates. And we've had a lot of Gildas Clubs that have contacted us and said, how'd you do this LaughFest thing? And we want to do something similar. We're like, we're not really quite sure. I don't even recommend it because it is a lot of work, or two, that it would work in your community. Because there's something really unique about this community.
Right, I totally.
Do you have any numbers? How many people? I mean, I'm sure it deviates.
Yeah, well, about 45 to 55,000 people on an annual basis come out for LaughFest.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it's people last year, when you look from people that purchased tickets, because it's both ticketed and free, but people that purchased tickets came from over 30 states in the United States and Canada and England. We can't quite figure that one out, but they probably will take it. They wanted to buy tickets.
Do you know that we have listeners in England?
I bet you do.
When it goes on the internet, we do.
Yeah, we do.
Well, now you're going to have even more because they're
And then there's these really creepy guys from Afghanistan and India that send their stuff.
No, my biggest creeper is England. So. He's in England. So.
What is in England? So people come from all over. And, about 70% of what we do as part of LaughFest is free to the community. The rest of it's ticketed. And proceeds go to support our free programs. So it's only about 10 or 15% of our total needed operating revenue. But it does help. And the biggest thing is that it created awareness of who we are and what we do.
Yeah, that's so neat.
And this was the first one. And I think I've heard of LaughFest in other communities. So
if you did, then they are stealing our
I know. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah,
because I think I've seen like LaughFest in other places.
Yeah.
And I didn't know if it was connected to Gilda's Club. No, it's not.
Is there a little R after this? Is it registered?
Well, you know what?
It's registered now because we are registered. We have a hashtag, an official hashtag. So now we're on it.
And then we're official.
You're branded.
Yeah.
Get in line for David's tattoo.
No, don't do it. Don't do it.
Well, I think it's kind of one of the cool things about LaughFest is right from the start, we recognize that not everybody laughs at the same things, but we all do laugh, and so we've been very purposeful about trying to have a little bit of everything. So,
and the great thing about what we try to do here is we self-deprecate.
Yes.
We won't do it in public. We'll do it in closed rooms like a bathroom.
Okay.
Did I use the right word?
You could have your own comedy show on top of this as part of LaughFest. But we would have to figure out the rating now.
Yeah. 18 plus for sure. And I know we were talking a little earlier, I mean, our show, what we try to do is we do try to do healing through laughter because we've all had our own stuff. And there's a lot of stuff in life that people think is embarrassing or shameful or they don't want to talk about it. I mean, it seems like 50 years ago, people were still whispering the word, cancer. They wouldn't say cancer out loud. And it's not until people really start talking about it, bring humor into it, that they start to get used to it more. And it becomes okay to talk about. And so I know with our show, we try to do that with a lot of topics. And, with cancer and with grief and all that, with LaughFest, it's like, hey, it's okay to talk about it. Yeah, it sucks, but it's okay to talk about it. It's okay to laugh through this, even if it's mixed with crying.
Yeah, and that's exactly, and I so appreciate you saying that because that's part of what LaughFest is all about, is to try to normalize the discussion about cancer, death, and emotional health. And so it's like giving people permission to talk about stuff that feels scary and doesn't feel quite like we should be talking about it. In LaughFest, one of the events that we have is right here at Gilda's Club called What's So Funny About That? So it's people that have been on a cancer journey or a grief journey telling stories of how they found laughter and things that other people would say, oh, wait a second, I don't know if I'm supposed to laugh at that. But they're sharing their reel, and it's not always wrapped up in a pretty bowl or in a pretty package. And it's just showing, that we, just like our namesake Gilda Radner, who talks about having lost her funny with her cancer diagnosis and connecting with a community of other people to be able to give people permission to laugh again. She was quoted as saying, cancer is so unfunny, it needed someone like me to give people permission to laugh. And so she was able to then bring herself into it and say, you know what, you can find laughter and joy even in the midst of some of life's suckiest stuff.
Well, life is supposed to be sucky because everyone goes through their minute when they're on their knees when that phone call hits. Everyone has one of those times in their lives, and I can honestly say all of us been through tragedy. I died 2 years ago and came back, and I make fun of it now. I took a trip too when I died. I was gone 9 minutes, but to me it was a lifetime. I met a woman. She's spirit.
Next.
Yeah, but anyway.
The one living
I
there.
want her. No, when I woke back up, I was punching everyone out because I came back into an environment I didn't like. And this place here is just filled with pain and sorrow and suffering. And that's what I thought when I created the show years ago, that we were just going to laugh at what's going on in the world about us. Don't take it so serious. Don't take the election serious. Nothing's going to change. You know, it isn't. Nothing. Just a dollar bill me in your face.
Gives you the feeling that you're not alone.
Right,
Laughing
exactly.
at everything. You know what I mean? Even the hardest stuff, if you can find the smallest thing to laugh at, you're good. You know, it gives you that hope that everything's going to turn out.
And you know what? I think that's beauty, because you already said that life is not free, right? There's a lot of pain in it, and I think that's part of what we're trying to do, is to give people that opportunity to have permission to laugh, regardless of what the outcome of that journey is, and you can fill in the blank, whatever that life tough stuff is. And what's so interesting about people, I'm so glad you guys came here today, because for many people, walking through the red door is the hardest thing, because it means you're admitting that you're on some kind of a journey that you never expected. Nobody expects to necessarily be diagnosed with cancer or to have somebody that they care about die in their life. And when people come through here, I always have people say, you know what, it's not what I expected. And I'll say, well, what did you expect? And they say, I'm not sure, but it's not what I expected. It's not a cry fest here. There's a lot of tears that are shared here, but there is probably the most resounding emotion is laughter. And P.J. Welsh, who was a comedian that's been here a couple of years, I love his quote. He said, laughter is the surprise recognition that we're not alone. And he said, you could be in a room of strangers, and when you get people laughing, you now have some kind of a connection no matter what.
Right.
And, you know, I think that's kind of what's great about LaughFest, what's great about Gilda's Club, what gift Gilda Radner gave to all of us is that permission to laugh no matter what, even in some of the worst
And
stuff.
even though we sit here and maybe we are cancer-free, maybe not. You never know till you get tested. But truly, I've always said the moment of absolute certainty never arrives. Every day anything can happen. And I think that's what's here. If you can come here and sit down with other people who have the same stuff with you, you leave, first of all, with that feeling not being alone, which is huge. You know, and I can talk to people. When you talk and get that stuff out on the table, it starts drying up.
Right.
You know, and it blows away. If you keep it all inside, it churns and bubbles, and it just makes you feel, I think laughter and getting it out stimulates something inside the body that doctors aren't telling us yet.
No, that
helps.
True.
That helps the healing process.
There is research galore on the health benefits of laughter. And everything that it does in terms of from a physiological standpoint and just from the dopamine that's created in your brain. I mean, there's so much that goes, and I loved what you said about not being alone, because our tagline is in this together, learn, share, laugh. And it is truly that nobody should be on life's journey alone. And so regardless of what it is, again, fill in the blank, your life tough stuff, then it's different when you're carrying it together. There's a Swedish proverb that says, sorrow shared is halved, and laughter shared is doubled. And so when you're bringing people together and laughing, there is something that's really kind of from a community standpoint that you can plus on each other. And when you're sharing the tough stuff, it lessens that load to some degree.
Sure.
So I like what you guys are doing in terms of sharing some of that and being able to kind of bring people forward to be able to talk about things that maybe we don't always feel easy and comfortable talking about.
Well, and it's always at that point, you know, when you're going through it, it's like, oh, this is never going to end. You know, whatever you're going through, you know, this feels like it's going to be the end. But then you get to that point and you look back at it and you're like, I got through it. You know, and that goes with anything. It can be from a cancer standpoint. It can be from, you know, the grieving standpoint, whatever you're going through life standpoint. You know, and you get there, you can look back and you can find, if you can find one thing that was funny about it, you're golden. Then you can just be like, ha, I made it through it. You know, what's next?
And people will often say, a lot of times our members here will, it sounds strange to say, but people will say, you know, the gift that cancer gave me was, and it is that discovery or that near-death experience or the whatever it is that you've had, you come out of that with a different lens. And the ability to be able to give people permission to laugh, even in the face of some of life's toughest stuff, is, I think, a gift that we can give each other. But it's not something that comes naturally. And that's kind of what we did with LaughFest, was We thought if we could get people together as a community, give them a reason to laugh. Again, not all the same things, but give people a reason to laugh and connect. There's something really pretty magical that happens there.
And there's such a range there for LaughFest where you have family friendly
and
activities, and then you have things where it's like 18 plus. I don't know if you have a vulgar rating, although I know something that just falls under 18 plus. You know, so it is nice that you have a range in that way. And the same thing with, you have things from free all the way up to like the more expensive ticket for the people that, you know, the big names like Seth Meyers, who I know is coming this year. I know you have like a fast pass type of thing too for the free events. Can you talk about that a little bit? So those of us who don't have so much in our wallet can still participate.
Well, there's so much fun free stuff there, and to get those fast passes and everything, go down to LaughFest Central, which is located at the Grand Rapids Art Museum, all the way through the festival. Fast passes are basically a ticket that gets you guaranteed seat into those free events, as long as you're there 15 minutes or before the show starts. After that, they're no longer good. And we'll always reserve a percentage of the seats for people that walk up. So you don't have to worry about that component of it. But some shows, fast pass shows, sell out. All the fast passes are gone for a certain number of shows right now, but you'll still have an opportunity to walk up. And, you know, that's a free one. The Seriously Funny Adventure Challenge is a really fun one. It's not for the people that are seriously fit necessarily. It's for people that are willing to have a seriously good time and just be silly. You'll see people in costumes running around doing things like throwing rubber chickens and whatnot. It's a contest and prizes. The Thunderwear Run, that one is actually a ticketed event, but it is something that's not that expensive, but it also includes the one-of-a-kind T-shirt and medal, and
that's March 13th.
And it's very
right?
pet-friendly. We had boxers and boxers. We had other dogs and.
So this is people putting on their underwear on the outside.
Yes, it is.
With
on the
dogs?
outside.
What?
We should do that.
Yeah.
It's 5K. You can walk it. You can run it. You can
just underwear though. No top.
Well, yeah, you wear clothes outside of your clothes in Michigan. It's March.
It's not the naked mile.
I can see you
At
walking.
least it hasn't been so far.
I'm videoing it. I'm like this.
We'll laugh at breastfeeding mothers. Look what it's done to you. How many did you feed? I've done 4, so I'm
You
familiar.
breastfed your dog. Jesus. Healthy dog, too.
That's right. She lived forever.
Well, it's truly a great thing because, again, people can get together, they can laugh about the disease itself. And if they get to that point, they're healing, at least emotionally. Now, I know that there's places downtown like the Lemon Houghton Center where they have psychiatrists who try to solve those problems of your illness or your demise. And they try to counsel through that and medication. That's all fine, but I think, and I always say go to the good doctor, but I think you ought to embed all resources, including this.
I appreciate that because we do see ourselves as an incredible resource of which there is no third-party payments or anything like that. And I think one of the things that we were very conscious of when we launched LaughFest with the smiles, we didn't want people to think we were trying to slap a smile face on pain because that's not the point. And our tagline is seriously funny, so there is serious behind all of this fun and funny. But we wanted people to be able to embrace laughter as part of that healing process, along with the tears and the fears and the everything else, because that's what we are. We're whole beings, right? We're not just one thing or another thing, but it's the collection of everything.
But you leave this place and you go out in the real world and everyone's comparing their insides to other people's outsides. And we go in and we feel so deficient at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Because they got a new car next door. And my ex-wife used to look at me, you got a raise like that.
Yeah, people compare what they see, and it's not
Sister.
reality.
But anyway,
So what group do you have for David?
but I'm saying you go out.
The Lost Cause group.
Wendy's like, David, we have someone to talk to.
I was thinking more, he needs to be on the free community showcase. People that have their own stage who can perform for 3 to 5 minutes of their own.
There you go, next year.
Yeah, sign me up.
She goes, did you prepare? And I said, yeah, I put gas in the car. I came over here. I mean, I don't even think. It's all rapid fire. But I'm saying though, when we get out in the real world, I like to do crazy things like to old people. I want to keep this on the level where we are because this is funny and it's fun. When we bump cars or bumper cars or baskets in the store, or someone gets in the lane, they're talking to someone else about how they're taking the kids all over South America and they have all this money. I love those type of. You know where Forest Hills is? Mm-hmm. Okay, they renamed that last month to Cougar Hills. All right? Women walking around in tennis outfits, then they'll play tennis. But they're extremely hot. I always ram them, you know what I'm saying, sorry. But the ones in the aisle, I don't get mad at them. I just start taking goods and things and putting them in their basket.
When they're not looking.
Yeah, then they go check out and I go, how the hell did I? And so they run out and they bring it home. I'm good for Cougar Hills.
Well, you added some laughter to somebody's
You're
life,
good
I'm
for business. To his own.
I do everything you can't get arrested for. You got creepy guys running around there with cameras in their shoes.
You have some of those, don't you?
No, I'm on probation still. What a wonderful thing. So,
Thanks.
yeah. I mean, when we came in here, this place is just decorated.
It's your first time here then?
It is my
Yeah,
first
okay.
time.
Actually, not mine.
Okay.
I've been here before.
Have you?
Yeah, it's kind of a
Volunteering?
happy place.
Actually, I had a family friend who did work here, and so we would come and see her. And then my mom used to come here, I think, for some support.
Okay. All right.
Neat.
Well, you know what? I think one of the things that's great about Gildas Club is one thing right now. It's inviting the whole community to come in. I mean, because we are open typically about 5 to 6 days a week, and I think when people come here, they get a whole different flavor for what this place is about. And it's amazing because we're here in the middle of a residential neighborhood, only a couple miles from Medical Mile up this road here.
Yeah.
And it's a world of difference. And the kind of that healing, laughter, tears, everything in between that happens here is pretty amazing. But it's getting people to come here because, like I said, that hardest thing is walking through the red door.
Right.
And recognizing that I'm coming to Gildas Club.
Well, I would just like to say, go to Nuggie Land.
Oh,
the best part.
It is.
What is Nookie Land?
Nookie Land, you're absolutely right. Well, all the places, all the rooms here in Gildas Club are named after Gilda characters or things that were on Saturday Night Live. So Todd and Lisa giving noogies. So Noogie Land is the play area for the little kids here.
Oh, okay.
And it's kind of fun for adults to hang out with too sometimes.
Yes, right.
Who have children.
It's very, who have children.
It's creepy when you got the camp counselor without the child.
That clarification, yes.
They're always on
Very
break.
true.
A year later.
So Noogie Land is a cool thing, and again, it's just taking one more obstacle away, so that people are coming here, and if they're coming with family or friends, they don't have to worry about figuring out a babysitter. They don't have to worry about what are they going to do for dinner because we serve a meal. It's just really trying to let people come as they are, and
Yeah, it's all self-contained. I mean, there's a kitchen
Yeah.
there. I want to check the fridge out when I leave.
Please do. I
They have
can
chicken.
some good leftovers.
But it's a beautiful place, and it's way back, and it's kind of a serene setting. So in the summertime, it probably is enveloped in green. You can even go outside. But you guys have had the right philosophy and taking something that could be what some may consider minor or totally major and debilitating. And if they do, unfortunately, the cancer ultimately, they succumb to it, at least they had some time to laugh.
Yeah.
I mean, you put us three misfits together, the only way out of my hole is to laugh. It doesn't necessarily have to be cancer. It can be other things. And having laughter, and I think most comedians themselves, it ties in well. Those guys and girls have lived really horrific lives. They've got holes inside of them that need to be routinely filled.
Yeah. It's interesting.
Through accolades.
Because we actually have a part of LaughFest that's called Laughter RX, like the prescription sign. And we've done some panels where we've invited some of the comics as well to be part of that. And to talk about, how'd you get into the field that you're in. And it's not always in the most cheery light. A lot of it comes from a very dark place. Sometimes it may be an insecure, it may be something that they've experienced through life. And how did you flip that into a way that you could then look through that lens and be able to laugh at yourself or laugh at the situation and use it in a different way to be able to connect. I loved what one comedian had said in the panel one time. He said, you know what? I realize that what I'm doing isn't just stand-up. I realize that what I'm doing is giving people a reason to laugh and smile. It may be somebody came in because of a divorce or they just had a diagnosis, and I may be the only thing that they had to laugh and smile about in that moment. So it's not just me doing a routine and getting paid for entertainment. It's me making a difference in somebody's life. And I think that, not all comedians are at that spot, obviously. Some come in and they do their show and they're gone. But those that are able to see that what they're doing is giving a gift that's just so much more than just entertainment. It's just, to me, amazing. I think that's kind of what Gilda Radner did for all of us.
And I was, like, for me, laughter was, it saved me in a lot of ways. Because my husband came out to me 5 years ago, and, like, death sounded like a comfort at that time. I mean, your whole life falls apart. And laughter was a go-to for me. And I don't think I was typically that person, but I think I was just at a place where it's like I had to do something to survive. And so I found myself, like, cracking jokes, and then occasionally, like, I'd crack a joke that would be, like, too sensitive for me. Like, I'd crack a joke and I'd be like, oh wait, no, I shouldn't have said that. Because my humor can get kind of inappropriate. And, so it's that balance of, like, grief and laughing, and sometimes you do, I mean, you push the envelope. That's part of it. Yeah. This isn't all like, oh, haha, that was just the right joke, or that was just, I think sometimes to heal, we need to push ourselves past the point that we're comfortable. And I know with me, I found sometimes I cross those lines with myself. And, but it's so important to combine those things. So how do you deal with people who are going through something like this, and you're finding laughter, and then, for some people, they think it's great, it's just the right thing for them for where they are. But then for other people, it's like, oh, that's hitting too close to home right now. I think it's interesting because there is no definition as to how does anybody journey on cancer or grief or fill in the blank again. Everybody is unique, and that's what we try to do here is to honor people, and everybody's journey is different, and to be respectful of the fact that people might do it with laughter, they might do it with tears, they might do it with whatever it might be. Hopefully it's not to the point where it's harming self in some way or harming others. But I think that's part of what we try to do here is that come as you are, and being in this together and being able to support people where they're at and letting them to define. Our programs here are facilitated by licensed professionals, but we don't see ourselves as the professional of saying this is how you ought to do it and this is how you should grieve or how you should react to your cancer diagnosis. We're there to help facilitate for the people their self-discovery and support of each other in terms of what is right for them at that stage and chapter in their life. And I like what you said about the tears and laughter, because when you think about what phrase we say sometimes I was laughing so hard I started to cry. That spectrum of emotions and everything in there is right there. And you can be times when you're with friends and you're crying and all of a sudden you start to find something incredibly funny, inappropriate, maybe, whatever, depending on what that is, that definition for that group. Often just the ridiculousness of your life. You're like, it's so horrible that it's
I have
funny.
I'm either going to laugh or I'm going to cry. So what do I want to do here? Right. And I think it's all an emotional expression. And that's part of what we wanted to do with the LaughFest, is to give people the permission to embrace all of those emotions. I know it's not the word you like, but it is that ability for people to be able to appreciate that we're human beings and we don't check out a part of ourselves when we enter a business. It's not like I'm just bringing my business self. I'm bringing my whole self. When I come to Gildas, it's not just my cancer self, it's my whole self. And so, how do we just help lighten the load with each other and just being there for each other?
Comedy. And that's what the show's all about, and that's why
Is it time for me to
like, no. It sounds like a wrap-up. I wanted to say that this is what East Coast does a couple laughs first, and then she comes in. Remember?
Yes. What would you like to say, Brad? I'll throw out our website, summitzradiotv.com. Okay, go, Brittany.
Boom, I got her going. What do you want to say, Brittany?
I don't want to say that.
No, say anything you wish.
No, I haven't.
Okay. All right, I want to talk about the acts a little bit, because
Sure.
Well, they're cheered out in different levels, right?
Right, but I'm talking more about like the big headliners. Like, okay, this is the 6th year for LaughFest.
Yeah.
So have you been, at first I'm sure it was harder to get people in, because you're like, no, really, come to Grand Rapids, and they're like, where? You know, and so are people starting to learn about it more? Are they starting to be like,
about the artists now?
Yeah, the artists.
Yeah.
The comedians that you bring in, and you get some big headliners.
We do.
Coming in every year.
And we pay them. That is a myth. Some people
Right.
say, well, how'd you get Betty White to come here for free? We didn't.
Right.
And
She's a
Grand
lovely
Rapids,
lady. She really is.
when they were
She gets paid,
gonna actually plant Gerald Ford when he was in that whatever his wife's name was,
Betty.
Betty, they were driving down the street with the hearse.
Yeah.
I was in front of them, and I knew it could make national move. I hit the brake car, and they rear-ended me quickly. Now that hit Oprah. And that Grand Rapids now started being embedded in a lot of the shows.
Thank you.
Due to my rear ending. So through rear ending, you can meet lots of people and go to many cities.
Yeah, Ava's a big fan of rear ending.
That's what your bumper sticker says.
That's what George says too.
So, I mean, but yes, you pay them, but is it, still, they have a choice somewhere they go,
do.
and they probably have a lot of offers. Like,
You're right.
is LaughFest starting to get some recognition in that community?
Yeah, it's really kind of cool to see in just 6 short years that how that has evolved for us, because you've got 365 this year, 366 days in a year, and they can choose to go anywhere, and they have many things that they're doing, movies, TV, whatever the case might be. So for those caliber of artists and people that can come out here and spend one of those days here in Grand Rapids in the middle of March in Michigan is amazing.
Yeah.
And so what's happened now has been that we've actually had some of the artist agents that have called to say, hey, just wondering if you still need openings or if you got openings in LaughFest. So that's been great.
Now, when you say artists, you're saying comedians.
Comedians, yes.
See, I would be more apt to go to the newer ones coming in. I'll tell you why. Because, let's look at my memory. Some of the rock bands of the 80s, right?
Yep.
They were really hot for a while, and because they were hungry, and they were better.
Right.
Like Van Halen, it's coming out of Van Halen now. So, but they were pumping out album after album because they're hungry, right? And they're good. And when someone's hungry, it seems their material, whatever it may be, is better. And they're willing to push envelopes. And that's why I would go to the first ones.
They are some of the best.
I'm telling you, because I know the acts way at the top already. I've seen them.
Well, it's interesting, too, because I can't remember what year Amy Schumer was here. But when we had Amy Schumer here, it was at McFadden's at that time. And there were 2 shows, and they sold out like that. And then we added 2 more, and they sold out like that. And now she could sell out an arena, right? So that being at that front end of your career, I think, says a lot. It's also a nice little plug here for the free amateur and professional community showcases, because those are people that are coming from all corners of the nation, and they're coming to perform.
They
for
register
free.
though, and then
they register,
and then they.
So they have to apply. We don't. We're one of those rare festivals that don't require anybody to pay any kind of an admission fee, so they can register. They just need to find their own way here. We don't pay them to come here.
They don't even do a background check.
Well, we do. So they just take the stage, and those are some incredible acts that I've seen, and those are fast pass. There's no.
That's where I would go. Yeah.
And then you've got the best of the Midwest. You have stand-up comedy,
which we're going to be best in the Midwest. We're going to be there that night.
Oh, that's
right.
Yes,
right.
We're there at the Club Red.
Yeah.
No to self.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
I have no idea what tomorrow's
so it's
about.
March 16th.
Yep. That is open to not just people that are part of Club Red. It's open to anybody, and it's going to be a great deal.
So what is Club Red exactly?
Club Red is really more of that event that is for between 20 to 40 young professional groups, and it's for people that want to get involved with Gildas Club in some way. And but this event, we're doing it really just to kind of get young professionals connect with each other, and there might be a teeny little bit of information about Gildas, but it's all about the entertainment and fun.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so we'll be there that night.
Super.
Young hot professionals. There you go.
Young hot professionals.
Britt and I are finding dates.
Finding what?
Dates.
Oh, that
Not the other D word.
hit the rewind. I think that's going to have to look at it being edited.
Then we do that on Friday night.
They're going to kill the whole show because you're out looking for...
No.
Dates.
That is our Friday night thing.
That was
We're
your
going on
POF and your Tinder headline, looking for you.
No, we did not. put that
Then you got all the dick pics, and then you're going, why did I get them?
No, that's not how it goes.
Oh, well, how come you get them all the time?
I don't know.
We've had lots of conversations about dick pics on the show.
Guys today, I'll tell you.
We get like
They're creeps, aren't they?
Yeah, I would say, okay,
Oh, she's going to get serious
the
now.
festival guidelines for the show definitely are on the higher end. So, but that's okay. That's why we have a little bit of something for everyone.
Well, that's right. That's right. And you laughed with us, didn't you?
I did.
Was it genuine?
You know what? Norman Cousins said that laughter is internal jogging. So people who hate to jog can laugh. So it is good.
You have like quotes for everything. So on your Facebook page, weekly, do you like do that
No.
Insta quote and then put the thing up there?
No.
'Cause I really need some of you.
Wendy's wisdom.
So are you single or married?
Yes.
Okay, great. Because
You too.
love girls like that. You
Single
know,
and married.
I love coming. Chicago boy came to Michigan a couple years ago and they're corn-fed. I mean, these chicks are married or not. Here I come.
So.
A little more for your
Thanks
own?
for stopping.
Yeah. David's
Hang around.
just spreading his manliness all over.
That's right. Return of Kings.
So cool. Is there anything that we haven't covered? Like, what are the things that typically don't get out there that that people don't talk about as much, but are unique? Or I live in Lowell. I know that there are activities.
There's some
there.
activities, yeah. Michael Palisak is going to be out there. He's going to be a great comedian, ticketed act. I would say Laughter RX. You know, the Laughter RX things. Kevin Matthews is going to be at the Grand Rapids Art Museum.
He's still alive?
Yes, and he's going to be talking about his life story of tough stuff. And
I was his neighbor back in Hinsdale.
Maria? Okay. And so then we've also got Jason Diggles from Hope College talking about humor. Just a lot of different things that we have. That's probably one that I think is one of the least recognized, but also one of the best things to go to. All the community showcases, there's a lot of things that are locally produced. That's just amazing. So if you get on the website, jump on there, take a look at it, whether it's if you're searching by day or if you're searching by the type of event or free stuff or not, it'll be easy to find all of that. And get your swag. Go down to Grand Rapids Art Museum to the Blacka Central because, like, you know,
Okay.
That's
the
right.
proceeds from all the stuff that we sell go to support our free programming too.
Oh, and we didn't talk
That's
about
right.
the chicken toss. You have
How
you're
dare we not
doing
talk
a
about
world
the
record
chicken
attempt.
toss, yes. Well, the chicken toss. 2011 was our first event. And we did the chickens, and we tossed 925 chickens that first year. Ontario took the record away from us, and so this year we got to get at least 1,000 people to throw rubber chickens.
Throw rubber chickens.
All at the target at the same time,
Yeah.
and hopefully we'll send out the record.
All right.
What's the date for that?
March 10.
March 10.
March 10th, the chicken toss.
Yep.
And you can be
Yeah.
part of a world record.
You can.
And it's going to be videoed. Yeah, so you'll probably be in the video, right?
Well, yeah, you'll be part of the video. You might actually hit all of our
No.
world records have hit the Associated Press. So
I know,
people all
I
over
know.
the world have
Grand Rapids.
heard about Grand
Ever
Rapids.
since that rear ender of
It's sure
Plan
you're
4.
gonna really put us on the
David
map.
started it. And you put us on the map.
I swear for a lot of things. They're not necessarily good. But this is just great. This is
Well, I
great. I'm
appreciate
so
the
happy to be
opportunity.
here.
Yeah, thank you so
Yeah,
much.
thanks for being part of it and helping to promote it.
Absolutely, absolutely. We're happy
And
to
thank
do
you
it.
for getting our name out there.
You're welcome.
Because we grow on people.
Yeah, I bet you.
Like words.
And there's a prescription that can be written.
Yeah,
for
I'm
that,
sure there is.
so-
That's why I took mine in the car. Without the bottle.
Okay, well, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
What are you going to do? You going to do something really
I'm
like
winding up
cable,
and tossing
stupid
Wendy out of
cable show
here.
stuff now?
Yeah.
I just
Thank you, Wendy.
Thanks, Wendy.
Now we're going to
Wendy, you're hanging around, right? Because you're married or single, yes?
Yes.
Okay. 1-800-WENDY.
Magically turn this chicken into a yellow comedian. I'm sorry,
Wow.
a ginger comedian.
Yes, that's right. Ginger.
Speaking of funny,
Yes.
how are you? I'm David.
David, I'm John. Nice to meet you.
John, nice to meet you.
We got Brittany over here. Nice to meet you. And
John.
we've done this already. That's all I got.
I'm working.
Well, you didn't
Yes,
wear
you
pink.
did.
You didn't wear yellow. See, I told John I was wearing LaughFest yellow.
Yeah, that's right.
And I
that's right.
said, so will we match these? So
Well, you
we
can
are.
change the color in the editing room, right?
Yeah, sure, if I want to spend an extra, like,
Give me
half
purple hair.
hour in there.
Maybe look good. Please.
Yeah.
I'm working on me first. So, John's been mentioned on our show a couple of times
Yes.
before.
Yes. yes.
We've talked to some other comedians,
Mm-hmm.
and the name of the Ginger Jedi came up.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about that.
Absolutely. Well, that was a good friend of mine, Jerry Donovan, who you had on your show, great comedian as well. Runs a lot of great rooms also in West Michigan, so good guy. That's something that he and I work together a lot, and part of my act, I talk about wanting to be, because I'm a big Star Wars fan. I always grew up as a kid, loving Star Wars and everything. So now that I'm doing this comedy thing, my goal is if I can continue to do podcasts with hundreds of listeners like this, maybe I could get famous enough. I'm very honored to be on the show. Thank you guys so much.
Tens of thousands.
All right, even better.
All over the world.
Perfect. Well, that's what I'm shooting for. But no, my goal is that hopefully if I can make enough noise doing this comedy thing, I can maybe like Samuel L. Jackson my way into one of the new Star Wars movies.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really what happened.
And you could be the Ginger
And they never had one.
Right.
I think it's time
I
for
think
the Star
that's
Wars
an excellent
universe.
point.
I'm just saying, even if you're not a Star Wars fan, I think we can all agree that we need the word Ginjai in our vocabulary. And I can make that happen for you. So, hashtag Ginjai, Ginger Jedi 2016, that's what we're going for.
It sounds a little bit like something your dentist would have to take care of.
I was in Meijer. I have a bit of a cold, and I think so. I went to Meijer to buy like some of that, the stuff that
Something in the
you have to,
cane.
like, show your
In the
ID.
cane
Yeah,
fed.
And I think Ginjai was one of the ingredients.
Really?
Something about.
Now, is this real stuff? Or are you talking about ginseng?
Not at all.
No.
It's just
I saw the earlier interview.
Well-
I figured I could probably get a lot by you. So
Yeah, 'cause
she has been seeing what I can
We'll
float.
just be like, oh yeah, I know.
Oh, yeah,
I know all
I got
about
the Ginjai.
that.
It's very
Yeah.
effective with mucus and whatnot.
So you've been involved with LaughFest
Yes.
for a couple years at least, right?
This will be my fourth year.
Oh, awesome.
Fourth year participating.
Yeah.
I am from Grand Rapids. I'm a local guy, so like Wendy was saying earlier, I've had the opportunity to perform in the community showcases that she was talking about for the last 4 years.
The volunteer ones.
Pretty much,
Yes.
yeah. But as comedians, especially for me growing up in Grand Rapids, I've lived here longer than anywhere else. In my life, I graduated from Cougar Hills High School. Grew up in the Forest Hills area, so I know what you're talking about. But it's fun for me because it's such a great festival. I mean, whether you're in comedy or not, it's a really fun thing to go to. So, given the fact that I've been doing comedy for a few years now and have something like this in my backyard, I mean, I feel like I'm the one, that's getting special treatment because I'm getting to be in these showcases. I don't feel like I'm volunteering my time. I feel like they're giving me a shot to participate in such a great event.
Now, you're seeing people in the audience,
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, there's quite a community. The thing about Grand Rapids, and I think this has a lot to do with the success of LaughFest, certainly has most to do with the hard work of everybody here at Gildas Club. But I think a lot of it also has to do, and you guys were touching on Grand Rapids as a community. It's a bit unique where we're able to pull something like this off. Well, it's really kind of the same way in when it comes to stand-up comedy, and I'm still very young in this, but one thing that I've already noticed and a little bit that I have gotten to do and get out and experience and work with people that are from around here, there's a lot of talent in Grand Rapids when it comes to comedy. And there's really, there's several explanations for it, but there's really nothing you can just put a pin on. It's just for whatever reason, if you start doing stand-up comedy in Grand Rapids, it seems like you just have a bit of an edge on everybody else. And I don't know why that is.
I think that's because we're all so repressed here. And then they get up on a stage and they're like, kind of like the kid who goes to college and they never had a drink because their parents were so strict,
Right.
and then suddenly they're an alcoholic.
Yeah, that really
Are they? And they're virgin.
Yeah, no, it's kind of like
no more.
the Catholic. I'm hoping, but
Have you ever had one?
a virgin?
Yeah.
It's like
I was one.
it's
I've had myself on many occasions.
What?
I don't know if that.
No.
Yes, I've had
It's
intercourse.
like-
This is fact check me. There's a few very
You notice he's avoiding the female connotation.
John's like, from the age of 14
Yes.
till whenever I was with myself.
Yes, exactly. Often. I was very dedicated.
Who was the first one? You had to have a picture.
I don't know.
I don't remember.
I graduated high school in 1996, Dave. We didn't have cell phones then.
Oh, no. You had a Playboy spread, didn't you?
Oh yeah, several of those. They actually they don't do Playboy magazines anymore.
They're all internet.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah. Because my dad.
It's easier to hide from my mom. I'm not gonna lie, but she's not digital, but
now that you have but now that you're in the basement, she doesn't come in the room all of a sudden.
I'm not in the basement anymore. I have left the basement.
Were you there though? In your black socks only?
Yes. No, well, it's funny you brought that up because Jerry, when Jerry, like I mentioned earlier, my friend Jerry was on the show, and Candace asked me if there was something I could say that might throw him off his game a little. And of course, he's a die-hard St. Louis fan. He grew up there, he loves it, still has family there, so huge Cardinals fan. So naturally, his absolute worst enemy team is the Chicago Cubs. So I told Candace to mention that he's a Cubs fan, and he really threw him off. So, but he decided to share with the world that at the time, yes, I was temporarily in the parents' basement, but I'm not anymore. I moved out. I'm a big boy now. I'm allowed to stay out past midnight, bring girls over, whatever.
Wow.
It's cool. Yeah, it's pretty awesome. But yeah, so I love being a part of this festival. It's in my backyard. It's something I get to do, and it's more than just the performances. As I said, I've done this 4 years, and for the last 3 years, this year included, I've also gotten to host. Like Wendy said, a lot of these comedians that come in, they drive from all over. I've had a guy stay with me before. They needed a place to crash, because they don't put anybody up or anything.
Right.
So we as comedians try to kind of create a network where we can help each other out.
So before you go to bed or at your house, do you tell each other jokes until you fall asleep?
We usually cuddle. I mean, that's my house rule. I mean, as soon as somebody says, "Hey, I need to," I'm like, "Well, cuddling is."
Well, yeah, that's why I stopped staying at your house.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Yes. But
I was like, "That's not cuddling."
No, that's not cuddling.
That's sporking.
It's spooning.
She said sporking.
Right.
That's sporking.
But yeah, I mean, it's cool though because I've got the last 3 years I've gotten to host somebody. Like one time was a guy that came from Baltimore, Maryland. I never would have met before. He's staying, a real nice guy. I've had another guy that's come all the way up from Florida that stayed with me, and then this year I've got a guy coming from Indianapolis. It's a pretty well accomplished comedian himself. So it's really neat because doing the shows is a blast. The crowds are full. Wendy and they do a great job to making sure that the people that are coming to these events are really into it too. So as a performer, it's fantastic. I love it. But it's also about I've got to meet so many people all over the country. That I am now starting to work with a little more in a comedy network simply because we've been at LaughFest.
God, it's great networking.
Oh, it's amazing. and me being that I live here, it's almost like we're kind of the hosts. The local comedians in Grand Rapids, when these people come in from out of town,
You're just got the inside.
Yeah, I mean, really, you know our town. Yeah,
That's what you tell.
anything to get me a little bit more respect.
Now, do you think funny? I mean, when you're out in the world, you just see stuff and you turn that into something funny.
Yeah, I mean,
Right.
I'm glad you brought that up because I've often said I feel like, the true person that is, the true stand-up comedian, and again, I'm very new at this, so I'm still learning. I mean, I have nothing figured out. But I feel like that if you really are truly meant to be a comedian and you're good at that, you have that innate skill, it's because you tend to see the world a little differently. You'll drive by that sign, or I'll drive by that sign when my mindset is, it says, whatever. And 99% of people drive by and be like, totally not, because I don't get why that's funny at all. But I'm giggling like an 8-year-old in the back of the room or something because it said booze or something. But yeah, I think that's absolutely the case. I think the reason why people, not only are comedians have the innate ability to do that, but I think that's why people like coming out to see them do their thing, see us do our thing, is because they don't see the world that way oftentimes. They can see it once it's presented to them that way. But they're not going to come to that on their own, so I think that's really why.
So you're saying most people, I think they might have it inside of them, but they don't let it out.
Sure, yeah.
Because of the fear factor, and that's the corollary here with you being on this show, is that a lot of these things can come out.
Yeah.
I think most everyone in their little creepy way has a funny side to them.
Wait,
Inside, but
Funny.
you are just creepy. And
I think he's doing a self-examination right now.
But yeah, we all got these. Come on, everyone's got a creep factor in there,
Right.
Excuse me.
Look at-
for yourself.
Look at the guy who just killed himself, who owned half of Saugatuck. Yesterday, he just killed himself.
But he doesn't dance with fluffy unicorns.
Well, he had billions, and I remember my ex going, "You should be more like him," because I was in real estate.
Okay.
Aubrey McClellan, right? Big name. He billions. He just got indicted. Following money, took his car, went into a overpass, 100 miles an hour, killed himself.
Wow.
You see?
Yeah.
Now, if he would have met us,
He would have been driving a lot faster. 120, 130 probably.
Right, a lot faster.
You don't want to take a chance at that point.
Right, and I want you to be laughing when you go through the window. I want to see those lips wide open, you know, on that thing plastered again.
I think we should change subjects again.
But anyway, it's too bad, Aubrey. $1 billion, you know, I wonder where that.
Well, I mean, I can tell you, I used to be a financial advisor as well, but
There's a reverse commercial on it now.
Yeah, well,
I saw it.
Yeah, right.
Guy's financial advisor, but then he turns out to be a comedian on a disco now, whatever.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I guess I got. Yeah, well, I kind of.
Can you do it now? Like, you know, you've reviewed my portfolio.
Yes.
And am I balanced right, at least in the tech industry?
I think the best recommendation I can make for you based on your portfolio is that overpass thing you were talking about earlier.
Okay.
Just cut your losses.
I'm tricked
at this point.
Yeah. All right.
But no, yeah, I guess I suppose I kind of did that backwards because I did used to. That's the job I left to start living my dream. You know, trying to go for my dream of comedy. I was in the finance business, and
can you have a relationship? Can you be married and do what you do?
I think so. I mean,
you're not.
I'm not. No. I'm a single guy. I don't think that any of that has to do with comedy. I think there's far worse things about me that really probably has to do with that. I think you can. I mean, I certainly know a lot of comedians that are married and they seem to be happy. They seem to be able to do it. You know, but at the same time, I feel like it does also put a strain. You know, I've heard people say that it can be tough.
You have to find the right one, and luckily enough, I have. I got a gal pal that everything just washes off her like a duck. Mm-hmm. We've never fought. And we fought, right?
I believe it.
We have never fought, or it has been, because you start swearing at me. But the thing is that everything just washes off her, and it doesn't bother her. Mm-hmm. So, plus she doesn't listen to the show. She goes like, I get this thing around the house. I started it up and I started walking around the house talking to myself. Mm-hmm. And then to the dog, like it knows what I'm saying, but I think it does. I think it does.
Good luck with that.
It's got some key words.
I think you'd probably be more worried with the dog when you start understanding the dog. That's when I would be a little more concerned. You know, if the dog understands you, that's fine.
No peanut butter in the house.
Yeah, okay. Too many young dogs' lives wasted.
You want to know where that is on the internet to go look?
What's that now?
Oh, down on the farm.
What?
What are you talking about?
I don't know. We started to talk about what he watches.
Oh, no.
And I'm telling him a website.
Yeah, right.
What?
And he's marking it down.
I don't. I've got binoculars and a hot neighbor. That's
all right. Okay.
So I want to talk about your shows a little bit more because I know you have said that you raise money too. Like here you are, you're getting up on stage. They're free shows, but then you guys end up raising a bunch of money in Gildas Club.
Yeah, I've been fortunate enough to participate in a few shows over the last several years that have been able to raise money for Gildas Club, and again, that's a thing that I'm very happy to be a part of. You know, it's a wonderful organization, and you know, if there's anything that I can do by getting up and telling a few stupid jokes that will help people suffering from cancer and help the wonderful people at Gildas Club to provide all those benefits, and yeah, that's fantastic. So I love doing that, and I've had the opportunity. This will be my third year performing. The first place I ever went on stage, I've been doing this about 5 years. And the first place I ever went on stage was a really great open mic showcase that still runs every Sunday night now here in Grand Rapids. It's called the Sunday Night Funnies. Definitely check it out. Sunday Night Funnies, you go online. It's every Sunday night at the Riverfront Hotel right up on Ann Street. It's a great show. It's free every Sunday night.
Well, it's the first place I ever saw you on stage.
And that was the first place anybody ever saw me on stage, actually. So through working with that show, they now, the gentleman that runs that show for the last, I believe 3 years, he's been doing it now. He has a special Sunday Night Funny show during LaughFest, where it's basically kind of like an all-star showcase. He picks kind of some of the comedians that have performed that room more often, kind of a little more skilled, a little more veteran at it. And then we do a benefit at the Sunday Night Funnies. They'll have two of them because there's 2 Sundays in between March 10th and the 20th. The show I will be on will be March 20th. And so there's about 8 comedians, and what we all do as comedians is we actually go out into the community leading up to the show, and myself included, and we go to local businesses and say, hey, we're raising money for Gildas Club. Would you like to donate a gift card to your restaurant, or maybe a movie package or something like that? And then at the show, it's basically they have all the silent auction items that each of us comedians have gone out there and put together, and then they get auctioned off, and all that money goes to Gildas Club. And it's been great because I think last year we raised almost $5,000.
That's fantastic.
Between those two shows.
That is cool.
Yeah, and in fact, and it's really great because it's a fun show to go to because the auction items, a good friend of mine by the name of Jimmy Bain, he raised almost $500 by himself because he had not cut his hair in 2 years. So he auctioned off 4 ponytails to cut it, to cut it off. And like they got almost $500 for all 4 of them. Right? And they just come up and chopped it right on stage, right after the set was done, just chopped it right off. And then on top of that, he donated the hair to Wigs for Kids. So I mean, that's just great. That's something that is fun for me to be a part of, and I feel eternally grateful that I'm able to do that. And then on top of that, I have also now for just over a year I've been excuse me.
Terrible.
Yeah, like I said, I got a bit of a cold. But a little over a year, I have actually been producing.
So it's getting away from the germs.
Right, that's right. Sorry, I'm sure the germs in your body are much more powerful than mine. But at any rate, it's I also for a little over a year now I've been producing my own show once a month here in Grand Rapids. It's at the Log Cabin Bar and Grill on Division, just north of 28th Street. It's usually the first Wednesday of every month. It's one show a month, and we have nationally touring headliners and people that come in from all over. But this will be our second year. I started this show in November of. Well, I guess it was 2 years ago now, so this coming November will be our second year anniversary. But at any rate, the first March show that we did happened to coincide with the day before the LaughFest festival kicked off. So I said, you know what, I'm not associated with LaughFest, it's just my little room, but I'll see if I can, raise some money. So we're doing that again this year. Our show will be on Wednesday, again at the Log Cabin Bar and Grill on North Division. And I've got a few, we do like 50-50 raffles. I've got a few donations from businesses and whatnot that we're going to do as door prizes. We'll probably sell some of the high five buttons again. And basically whatever we can raise, we'll give that to Gilda's Club. And it's just something now that I have the means to have my own room and kind of make those decisions, I want to help out.
Yeah, and the high five buttons are, people just donate $5, they get one of the buttons, and that goes towards the club.
And I apologize, I had one, and I forgot to put it on. I'm sorry. But it's a real neat program because it's just a little button, it has a smile on it. I believe it's purple, or they were one, I don't know, they might change. Yeah, it has the smile here, which is kind of the LaughFest logo, and all their stuff. But they're nice because not yet, like I said, $5, pick them up, support LaughFest, put them on, it shows awareness. But the other nice thing is that the buttons, I believe they're still doing this, in particular, the $5 that are collected for the buttons goes specifically to the children's cancer support groups.
Right, yeah.
So the LaughFest buttons specifically are benefiting the children.
Yeah, I believe that's the case also.
So that's something that's always, and they have those at every event. Every show you're going to go to, you're going to see people buying those, and that's a great way to just, to help them out. So. So I've been fortunate enough to not only participate in a lot of things LaughFest has done, but now over the years, I've put myself in a position where I can actually physically be involved and help them raise money and with the festival and everything like that. And I get to do great things, on shows like this for promotion. I'm really excited. It's the best 10 days of the year for me.
Right.
I love having something like this in my backyard.
Yeah. And I think the fact that you do something like that and it's not officially connected with LaughFest, but that's such a great thing about our community. I mean, really, Grand Rapids, sometimes people ask me, they're like, do you work for the city of Grand Rapids? Because I'm always talking it up. Because I love it here so much. But that's the thing. We have a community where people are like, hey, this great thing is going on. How can I contribute, even if I'm not, my name isn't on the program, and my name, it's like, I just want to be a part of this. And I love that about our city, and that we just want to support others.
Yeah. And like I said, that's something that I found in comedy too, which is pretty special. I've gotten to go out on the road a little bit in the last 6 months, and I'm getting to the point where I can travel and get to some places that aren't just in Michigan or right around this area. And when people find, when I meet new people out in these places that I've never worked for, seasoned comedians, seasoned headliners, been doing this 20, 30 years, and I tell them I'm from Grand Rapids, you can just tell they have a look on their face like, oh. That means something to them in the comedy world.
Yeah.
And it might have something to do with LaughFest. But like I said earlier, for whatever reason, and there may be many reasons that you could probably break down, but Grand Rapids seems to be kind of this crucible for comedy right now. And I feel like the stand-up comedy world in general is kind of going through a renaissance period. Almost a bit similar to
In what way? I grew up. You used up the material that worked, because there was a big box of material you worked with.
Yeah. I think what it is, I think it's more cyclical than anything. Because, like I said, I'm 38 years old, so I grew up in the 80s and 90s watching comedy when it was really in its heyday. In fact, when I was real young, my dad would often work shift work like midnight to 4 or 8 to midnight. So my mom would have us alone, at the house. She'd get a little scared at night, so she'd always bring my sister and I in, and we'd get in bed with her because my dad was gone. We'd watch TV at night when we went to sleep. And one of my first memories ever, it's a family memory, it's all kind, was laying in, sitting in that bed with my sister and my mom watching Johnny Carson on The Tonight Show on a little black and white TV, in the 80s and the 90s. And that's how I learned what comedy was. So it was really fun to kind of have those experiences. But, in the 80s and the 90s, even back then, back as far as when I graduated high school, there was a second comedy club over in the Cascade area that was just exactly like Dr. Gray's, and had shows just the whole whatever. And that was very, in the 80s and 90s, you could go to any town in America and find 2 or 3 clubs. You could get work as a comedian. You could literally just throw a flyer out there and they paid better. And it was, I hear a lot of the older guys have been doing this for 20, 30 years. They got to work back then, in the area. And just hearing some of the stories of what opportunities they had simply because comedy was just everywhere and everybody wanted. It was the give me comedy. That's what we want to do with our nights out. And I feel like that, as the 90s and then we got into the millennium and things like that for whatever reason, there's probably many places you could point to, but I feel like that people just started to kind of step back away from stand-up comedy, in particular stand-up. And it might have been a proliferation of things like YouTube and the TV shows that are on the internet now, and there's so many more forms that people can get their comedy from. They don't have to go out to the club, and sit down at the table and watch the guy on stage.
But there's something too going on stage, because then you can hear the laughter.
Oh, absolutely.
If you do that like we're doing here on a recording, we don't see all your frowning faces at home.
Right.
Where's the goddamn remote? Get these people off, Harold.
But yeah, that's what I really think is happening right now. I think we're getting into a period where the demand is coming back, and it's coming back in a very fast way. It's almost like a exponential growth.
It has to be, but it seems like the biggest stars always are almost RX rated.
That's actually not
Sure is. Well, Eddie Murphy was.
Sure. You're going to get that, and as far as
because it's funny.
It is.
I find that funny.
And I am not, as far as if we're on the subject of material, most of my stuff is R-rated. If you come to see one of my shows, you're going to hear R-rated kind of language. We're going to talk about that kind of subject. Now, having said that, I've also performed for Grand Rapids. I think it was Festival of the Arts or one of the Grand Rapids festivals downtown in the summer.
And you were refined.
And we performed at one of the tents downtown. And we had like 150 people in it. But I remember when I went up on stage, there were 6 8-year-olds sitting in the front row. So obviously you had your own show there.
You're like the last date I went on.
Yeah, right.
And he's in the tent with 6 to 8 boys.
Yes, exactly.
And he was in the Cub Scouts.
Yep, and and I left with.
I bet you did.
But no, so I get that. Some people like, material. They say, hey, anything goes. It's comedy. Let's joke about it. Nothing should be taboo. And I get that. And then there's other people that say, like my mom in particular, supportive though she may be, her constant feedback to me is, I don't understand why you have to swear.
That's what they'll do around the house.
Yeah, and yes, I can't. But it's more fun to swear.
Do you listen to that and take it to heart? Because I'm critiqued every time I come home.
Well, I take it to heart.
You did this wrong, you did that wrong, you didn't let them talk on the
She didn't listen to the show.
No, with my mom. My mom. The thing about my
Not tonight, because we don't have any Wi-Fi.
She's incredibly supportive. She's a wonderful lady. She's actually a 3-time cancer survivor herself as well. So wonderful lady, but comedy is that's just not her wheelhouse.
Yeah.
She loves to laugh.
Yeah.
So
that's like it's kind of like asking one of your pets to analyze economics.
My mother will not watch this show. Like she listened to the first one and she was like, it's just TMI, like it's too much. And I'm like, you know what, Mom? That's okay. I'm like, you're not our target audience. Like our target audience
but
is
we
not like women born in
honed
the 40s.
it down because we're on TV now. We had to drop, for me, not to drop the F-bomb was rather easy. Because I'm always praying in my head now as we go along. Well, I'm praying.
Thank God.
Don't you diss the baby, Jesus!
Who's your prey? That's my question.
So I'm praying as I do it, and it works. Because a lot of times the the F-bomb comes in very handy.
Sure, oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's a powerful word. And I'm not against using
And
it.
people don't know how to use it.
No.
Especially on podcasts, where you go, everyone's got a radio show now.
Yeah.
It's their excuse to use the F-bomb.
Yeah.
F this and F that.
And it certainly can be used as a crutch. There's no doubt about that. I mean, a lot of people do it. I may have done it at times too, I'm sure. But as far as the material, I mean, you'd be surprised because there's really, I would say it's probably not anymore because Kevin Hart is probably the highest paid comedian out there right now working. But up until a few years ago, and he's still in the top 5, I'm sure, is a gentleman, a big hero of mine by the name of Brian Regan, who was actually at LaughFest 2 years ago. He was one of the main events at the Moss Place. I got to go and see him. That guy, like I said, he may be the second or third most highest grossing comedian, but for a period of about 5 years, just recently, he was like the Seinfeld. I mean, he would sell out arenas everywhere. And that guy, his act is 100% PG. So it's so good that if you listen to his act, you will laugh the whole way through, get to the end of it, and then it'll be like somebody will say, hey, you realize he didn't swear at all. And you're like, no, oh my God, he didn't swear at all.
Yeah.
Like, you don't even realize it because the material is so good and he's so
Now,
good.
as a comedian, are there guys that you may see, like you mentioned Seinfeld? I never found the guy funny.
Oh, he's a god.
Personally, well, it does. It all depends on, what neighborhood you grew up in.
Yeah.
But to me, it wasn't funny. But then you take a Robin Williams. They give him a script, and he would violate that script and come up with his own stuff, and it was better.
Oh, yeah.
And the guy was so brilliant, too brilliant, born in the wrong time. He had to get out of this place.
Yeah, and I mean,
A lot of comedians suffer with that.
suffer with, like, specifically what?
Well, I mean, I think it's a lot of comedians, I think, and I've heard Schumer mention it, that there's a depressive mode in there.
Oh, yeah.
That we found coping skills as youngsters to be able to do this.
I think that's definitely very prevalent. I know a lot of comedians that I know very well, kind of on my level that I work with. A lot of them struggle with depression, as a rule. Comedy, that's just it's kind of like the cold I have. That's just something they have. They suffer from depression. And I think in the comedy world, there may be a certain parallel to if you happen to suffer from that. I think that comedy can provide an extremely therapeutic outlet. If you're doubting your self-worth or you feel like you don't have a purpose or whatever it might be.
It's healing through laughter.
Yeah, well, the thing is, quite frankly, absolutely. And as a comedian, there's nothing that will do more for your self-worth than to get that laugh on stage.
There you go. And that's why being on stage and having the accolade.
Yeah. Now here's a double-edged sword of it, though. The problem is that while that can be very, and again, this is just kind of what I've seen. It's certainly not to just paint with a broad, stroke here. But from my experiences, yes, that for comedians, if they suffer and they have that kind of depression about them, and that's something they're battling, being a comedian can be very therapeutic, but it can also be incredibly dangerous towards that depression because you may go up there, you get your laughs, you feel good. 5 minutes off after later, it's all done. You walk off stage, it's over, and you're right back to where.
And you're alone.
Yeah, and so sometimes that snap, can be very, very rough.
Yeah,
and a guy with Robin Williams, I think that's exactly where he was in. He can't be on stage 24/7.
He's not on stage all the time. Because I remember in the high school play, I had the lead, and I loved it. And then when it was over, I can remember everyone went home. And I was sharing Whiteside and Manhattan dinner, and I was sitting in the prop wheelchair, and everyone had left, and it was the loneliest place that I remember I ever was in my life. It was dark, the stage was closed, it was done. There were no more shows. We went 2 weeks and it was done.
Yeah.
You're exactly right. Tom Petty, coming down is the hardest thing. It's such a high, and then when it hits, it's a fall.
Yeah. And that's the thing. I think the fall becomes even greater because the highs get so much better.
Yeah.
And then the falls it becomes just the two get that much worse. And in fact, there's a really good documentary. They made a couple of them. First one was Road Dogs, and Road Dogs 2 was what they called it. But it was there's a comedian that went out there. I don't know. There was one, Road Dogs is a good one, but there was one documentary where there was this comedian that had been kind of a pretty legitimate headliner back in like the 90s, made a career out of it for a little while. And then kind of walked away from it, just didn't get where he wanted to be, so he finally just said, I gotta go and get something real. But was very well respected, back in the day with a lot of guys now, like Tom Arnold and, and Ray Romano, and kind of came up with that class. So the guy was legit. he walked away from it, and then a few years ago, he made this documentary about, after, I don't know, something like 15, 20 years not being on stage, trying to get back to it. And one of the specific things that he talks about is after filming this documentary, where he goes and gets on stage a little more, and he's rusty, and it's off, you know, and he's just terrible because it's been so long. But one of the things by the end of the documentary he says, he's like, you know what, this has been exactly what I need to do. And like he had been on antidepressants for that 15 years. After like 2 weeks of doing comedy, he didn't need them anymore, you know. So yeah, there is definitely, I know you mentioned this earlier, that I think as comedians, we all have some type of hole we're trying to fill. But at the same time, I think that we all have that in our lives, you know. But for comedians, people see the hole we're trying to fill
it's
way
visible.
up there in front. Yeah, we're in front of everybody saying, I'm up here because this is, and chances
My dad
are,
was an alcoholic.
Yeah, and it's not only that, but chances are, as a comedian, if we're truly doing it for the right reason, those reasons to try to you know, heal ourselves and to try to get past those, you know, piccadillies that we all have, or the holes we have to fill, we're going to talk about it on stage specifically. That's our therapy, and you know, so you're going to know our most intimate details. And it's so funny for me because I do a lot of that. I talk a lot about my life, my personal things that I've. You know, I'm an adopted kid. I'm a redhead. I've got all kinds of, you know, struggles that I've gone through because it makes me a little different. And I talk about that on stage, and it's so funny because almost every single show, without fail, I have people coming up to me after the show saying, you know, it's hilarious. We love it. I love what you talked about. You know, your dad or your mom, blah blah blah. But I gotta ask you, is that really true? Because they just can't believe, number one, that anybody would actually do something like that. And then number two, if they had, that they would come up and talk to strangers about it, you know? And so they always think, well, I'm sure, yeah, you're adopted, but it probably wasn't. Like, no, that's exactly what it was like, you know? We used to go to the beach, and my older sister, who's a real child, and my parents, you know, they're all German. My last name's Houser. If you watch the video, you can see they're all German. You know, so they're out on the beach. I remember as a kid, they'd go out to the beach, and they're just putting baby oil on their skins, and they're just turning into these bronze goddesses, you know? Meanwhile, little John's over here on the beach. I'm huddled under the umbrella in the shade, rubbing SPF 5000 all over my body. And my face is still melting like the Nazis at the end of Raiders of the Lost Ark. So it made things a little different, you know, for me growing up.
And that's where you discovered Oval Beach.
It was. Actually, that's where I discovered the joys of SPF 55 sunscreen. It's wonderful. I carry that on me at all times. It's like a kid with an EpiPen. You know?
You were injecting it earlier before the show.
I was. I mean, he's light. Are you kidding me? It's like anything over 30 watts, I'm getting cancer, which I'm in the right place, I guess. So
You
that's
are.
good. Yeah.
That's
That's what we're here for, right? But no, that's the thing. You know, I feel like as comedians, we're really getting our best therapy when we are genuinely taking the barriers down, letting people into our most intimate, you know, experiences and sharing them with them. Not only does that help as therapy for us, but I think a lot of people too. They walk away from that and go, "Wow, he's managed to get through all this," and he talks about it on stage. My stuff isn't quite so bad anymore, you know. Maybe I could learn to find the humor in kind of some of the things that I'm struggling with, and certainly, you know, that's exactly what this festival and Gildas Club is all about.
And actually, I mean, our show too.
Yes, absolutely.
NoLimitsRadioTV.com.
No Limits Radio TV.
Yep, NoLimitsRadioTV.com. And I mean, but that's what our show does too. Is that we do talk about a lot of those things, and I mean, my own stuff, my gay husband,
And I remember you telling me about that, like when we first became friends, and that was something I was fascinated about.
Which was shortly after it happened.
Yeah, it really was. You said 5 years. I'm like, my God.
I think that's about the time we became friends.
Yeah.
You know, we've all talked about our own stuff.
Wendy's dating struggles and her ex climbing through windows and
going to prison.
Hey, you want to hear some dating struggles? I can go.
I don't think you can.
Let me put it this way. Mine are just sad. Like yours might be like, wow, that's a struggle. Mine are just sad.
No, mine is, wow, that really happened.
Yeah. Okay. See, there you go. Yeah.
Okay, so it's like you're telling a dating story on stage. Like, what do you tell?
Well, you know, one of the things I talk about, like it seemed, I'm not married. I don't have any kids. Never been married. None of that.
As far as you know, but just keep going.
I feel like that's something I would remember. The marriage or the kids? Yeah, the kids, as far as I know. Yeah, definitely never married.
You got a few baby mama out there.
Well, see, here's the thing. I'm pretty sure I don't have any baby mamas out there because if the last female I had sex with had a child, he'd be like 7 years old. So I feel like I'm good. I haven't been contacted yet. I'm probably okay. Yeah. But I'm quite virile, ladies. Anyway.
He's ready to go.
That's right. I've got a lot of reserves.
Wendy's mine.
At any rate, so excuse me. When I
That's that fluid.
Yeah, it really is.
This is hot, all Friday.
God, need some more drugs.
Our fire scarecrow.
Right?
Okay.
Excuse me. All right. So anyway, it seems like a lot of the dates I have been going out lately is with a lot of these younger girls, like 22, 23-year-olds. And I'm not shooting for that, but it just whatever. I don't know if it's because women my age are still single or like way too smart for that. I don't maybe
the paradox of that is these chicks on the show here, when I interviewed them,
Would that be us?
I just said talk for now. I didn't ask a question, and they were such train wrecks. I said you're in.
Yep.
But the paradox is you're like, where are the women, and these chicks are going, where are the guys?
Yeah.
And well, I've seen you're a pretty normal guy, but I got to think at a dinner table
Let's not get
with a chick. Well, let me go with it, will you? This is TV. Excuse me. Well, you're coughing up one.
I know, but
I've been with everyone
I'm
you've
a
been.
guest. I can do whatever the hell I want.
Been with everyone you've been with now.
Believe me, the numbers are very small.
Could be
You have nothing to worry about.
I bet. We won't go there, but
Let's count them in chickens.
Yeah.
1, 2.
We've already got too many chickens.
yeah. But the thing is, there's only one female.
Yeah.
You want to explain these other two?
I guess it just depends how desperate you are.
Yeah, right behind you.
They got other holes.
Yeah. How about the one at home? God, blowing mine up takes everything out of it. By the time I'm done, I'm tired. I want a ham sandwich. I'm not ready.
That's why I got one of those foot pumps.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, it's kind of nice.
Does it go fast?
I found that you can actually, if you have the foot pump, it gives you 2 free hands to hold on to.
Yeah.
Which is nice.
Grow.
Yeah, and then you get a better angle.
Just pretend. Yeah.
You can play while you're blowing it up.
Yeah, you can reach the camera to, oh, no, like
What if the creepiest stuff come out of though? I think it comes out of Japan. You see those nude sex dolls? They're like totally real.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Never encountered any type of sexual paraphernalia.
The Japan guy goes, and this chick comes walking in normal and goes, I don't have something down. His legs come out her knees.
What do you watch?
It's real.
Yeah.
It's a motorized doll.
Oh.
And you sit there and it's.
I feel like the Japanese people are like.
They come up with that.
Well, there's so many of them crammed onto a small. Like the per capita is higher than anywhere else.
Yeah.
And I feel like they're just running out of dares.
There are more dirty.
Like they're running out of dares. They're just like, what haven't we tried yet?
Did you
Yeah.
see there was a Japanese game show I just saw it talked about online?
Go ahead.
But
Takeshi Castle.
no, it's like a wall, and then there are holes.
Yes,
around,
yeah.
and they stick their no, they don't eat them. Somebody sticks their butt through it, and the contestants smell the butts, and they have to match it to the picture.
That's adorable. They're eating butt. They're eating butt.
I can't.
That's yeah.
I hope they finish first.
This is a real thing. though.
Really?
Yeah, it's like
I've done that.
What?
which end?
No, both.
Okay, that seems about right.
Well, I mean, someone would say, but I
You don't want to be selfish and just be on one side of the wall all the time, right? You
I ask her first. I make sure every woman that I'm with, I tell them the I slept with David Christine pink tote bag.
Okay.
Because inside you also have the thermometer, the cleaner, and the bleach. It's a little thing. So
Because they need to run out.
Well, I gotta bleach them out.
He wakes up.
Yeah.
See what I mean when I put up?
Well, I
Too
mean,
bad I can't deflate you.
Give them some.
Where's your Sportnet?
You were talking about these 22-year-olds.
yeah. So, for whatever reason, I seem to be going out with
Young chicks.
Yeah, younger.
Now, who did you fight over the radio?
It's interesting because that was one of the things I went out on this.
I've given him material.
I went out on this first.
Really hang.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Court order, possibly.
Stay away.
Maybe we can have like a person there just in case things go weird, like a chaperone.
You ain't gonna wear it on me, tell.
Just saying, there's a lot of guys out there.
I ain't that way.
But anyway, no, I was out on this date actually with a young girl, and we were talking about music.
Nice.
Because it was like a first date.
Now wait a minute, you're how old?
38.
And
She was 21.
damn it to hell. How do you, I gotta ask, how'd you find this stuff?
Jokes, dude. I mean, come on.
Jokes comedy? She comes up afterwards?
Not true at all. No, although.
No.
I have been solicited for sex 3 times after
Doing shows.
After show.
Really?
And in fact, the last one, I was this other day.
Anybody that you partake in, anybody that you consider.
Every one of them.
So I was down in Southern Ohio. And I'd never been to this club before, and it was this really neat hotel, historic hotel. It's called the Lafayette Hotel. In fact, it's haunted, supposedly. You were talking about that earlier. And real nice hotel. The venues had about 180 people, so it was packed, great show. I featured, so I did like a half hour, and then the headliner came up after me. And the lobby was like outside of the venue where I was sitting. You had to go out there to go to the restroom. So about halfway through the headliner set, after I was off stage, this woman who looked like she was about my age, maybe early 30s, mid 30s, cute, very good, like a 7 now, probably a 9 back in the day. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. I was happy. So she comes by and she, you were amazing, you were so funny. And she, I was shaking her hand, she won't let go of me and this and that. So she goes to the bathroom and she comes back, goes back in the show. After the show is out, and all the crowd starts filing out, and I'm, shaking hands, saying goodbye with the headliner, telling everybody. It takes a little while because there's a lot of people.
So you hang and shake hands with people?
I love meeting people after the show. It's so much fun because you get, I would hide. I wouldn't do that. I absolutely love it. I love it. I absolutely love it. Because you get to, I just spent a half hour up there making these people laugh, about things about me that they never,
Plus you're trying to get laid.
And that too. So anyway, so I'm saying goodbye to everybody, and I noticed the girl come walking out again, the same one from before. She kind of looks at me, but then doesn't really get in line to like shake hands. It just kind of starts.
She gave you that look though?
Yeah, she looked right at me. Oh yeah. And then she walked away, and I kind of lost track of her. And then a minute later, she walked up again from behind me, and I was shaking another guest's hand, and she just leans in and whispers in my ear, "I'm in room 301 when you're finished."
Wow.
Yeah.
301.
Yeah, I'm like,
Now he whispered, but what she told him was she does a 301.
Yeah, she charges 301.
And I'll tell you, I've done a 301, but
I had a good show.
It's like Twister.
Yeah. So needless to say, that was a good send off down there. But
wow.
Yeah, that was surreal for me. To have somebody come up to you.
Yeah. How'd you feel?
Perfect stranger.
Was that even better than the accolades you got from the laughter? I've got a chick come up and go,
He's like,
"It's good."
He's like,
Man,
I'm not that type of ginger.
No. Yeah.
Oh, God.
He was the Ginger Jedi there.
There's never a guy that has
He's like,
turned
let
down
me
a
show you my Jedi sword.
Like, I'll use the Force all
Did you really get into a costume and go up there?
I did not, no. But the thing about it was so funny. Yeah, it was great. I was like, it blew my mind, right? I'm just, But the whole time it was so anticlimactic because as much as I was enjoying the whole experience,
right there?
the whole time in my head, the only thing that I keep thinking is, no one's ever going to believe this went down like this. So I couldn't really enjoy it because I'm like, it's fun now, but nobody's going to believe that this happened. None of my friends.
You're like, hang on, let me periscope this.
Yeah, right? Well, actually...
Take a selfie, please.
Now,
No. I made her lock her phone up in the bathroom. I wasn't going to
This stage was in a hotel then?
Yes.
Okay, so that's more apt to maybe. Anyway.
Probably, yeah.
But anyway, now, did you remember what you did that night that made yourself so funny and try to do it again?
Yeah, well, certainly. The thing, yeah.
It didn't work.
It's the thing with my act, and most comedians I think would agree. We have a very scripted performance. Obviously, certainly when you get to the point where you're doing half hour or more, 45 minutes an hour,
You're scripted
to a certain extent.
Really?
What I mean by scripted,
it's planned.
Yes.
You know what you're gonna.
What I mean by that is basically if I'm doing a half hour set before maybe 10-15 minutes before the show, I'll just write down my set list. And it's kind of like you would if you were a musician. You just write the title to the song. I basically just write the title to the bit and how I'm going to tell them. And then that's all I really memorize is just all those titles. And then but I could throw out a title and be like, oh yeah, I remember exactly that bit, every word, blah blah blah, and just run through it. And then you can throw out another time like, oh yeah, that's this one where I say, well, so yes, there is a large portion of it is scripted, it's practice, it's rehearsed. And we do that because it needs to look like it's not scripted. And the only way you can get that good at it is if you just do it over and over. It's kind of like a sales presentation, So yes, there's a certain degree that the core is scripted, but at the same time, I found, and again, I think a lot of comedians would agree with me, I found that some of the best jokes or some of the best taglines or the best wording of a joke maybe I've been using happens just organically when I'm on stage sometimes. It could be the same joke or the same concept I've been doing over, many times over, but I get to tell it, I get to the point where I'm about to tell it, maybe a new spin on it pops in my head, so I just throw that out there and it blows up. And so I'm like, wow, I got to do it that way from now on. So yeah, there's definitely a plan, and there's definitely a script going into it as far as, hey, what do I want to talk about? I want to make sure that I get everything and keep the time and all of that. So there has to be, in my opinion, there needs to be some structure. But at the same time, you cannot reproduce, and that's why stage time as comedians is the most valuable thing. It doesn't matter if it's performing, I performed in rooms in a kitchen like this where we have 8 people sitting, you just come in their home and do a little time for them, a mic and a speaker, that's it.
They hire you to come in their home?
No, those are free sometimes. We just do a little showcase with our friends or whatever. But I'm just saying, that it doesn't matter what stage you're on. That's the most valuable resource, because there's absolutely nothing that can replace the organic types of things that happen when you're on stage. You can't predict those when you're writing. You can't think about, and get that. So you need to be writing constantly, I think, and that's what I've always been told, and I believe that. But at the same time, you need to just get on stage as much as possible, because so much stuff is going to happen just from that, and then that's going to build into your act, and then you're going to repeat that. So it is a building process, but in my opinion, I certainly like having a structure or a plan to it. Because like I said, I know I can go and, I could get a phone call right now, honestly, that said, hey, we just had somebody drop out, can you be at Dr. Green's in a half hour? And I wouldn't have to freak out about it, because I go, yeah, I got a half hour set, here it is, boom, I'll just rattle that out, But at the same time, you want it to look unique, you want it to look, creative, like some of it, wasn't scripted, you want to make it look like it's just stuff you're thinking on stage. And I think that's really what makes the truly great comedians, because I've seen a lot of people tell jokes that I think are some of the funniest jokes I've ever seen. But, these are open micers that have never gotten paid to do a gig ever. So there's a lot of funny people, there's a lot of comedians with great material, but I really think the ones that truly make it big and set themselves apart with, the mega success are the ones that have that ability to go on stage and make it look like I'm just up here talking to my friends. And that's what people like to see, too.
Right.
So when they feel that, I think that's really what makes a crowd kind of... really enjoy a comedian, and it will help them to remember. That'll be somebody they really say, I'm a fan of this guy. And that's kind of some of the things that I've seen just in a little bit of traveling that I've gone now. People have come up to me and said, was that a half hour act? Like, what, did you just go up there and talk? I'm like, no, that's just the way I do things. Like, well, I've never seen anything like it, Because I've always been very comfortable on stage. Even from the first moment I walked on stage, people were telling me, I don't understand how you have the stage presence you do. And that's just something I've never been
born with that.
Yeah. And me, I think I was. Even as a little kid, I was like, oh, go up in church and read? Sure, give me the book. I don't care. Flip it open. Tell me where I got to read. Go up in class and talk. Yeah, sure, why not?
Yeah.
But at the same time, it doesn't have to be something you're born with. You don't have to be born with great stage presence to be a good comedian. You don't have to be born a great writer. A lot of the greatest comedians, if you ever seen them the first few years they were on stage, they look terrifying. Like, you see there's some of the earliest bits, you're like, how in the world did they stick with comedy? This looks awful. But that's them learning the craft. And again, it's that stage time. You can learn how to be better. Now, if you have some innate abilities that, to write a joke a certain way, or you have a certain type of style, that makes you a bit unique, that's great. Yeah. But at the end of the day, if you can just get the work in and learn the craft and get that stage time, you can develop that ability, whether it was born in or not. But regardless of whether you were born with it or it's something that you learn over time, which, I've seen mega successful comedians that'll tell you both sides of it. Hey, I grew up right away because I just had this natural talent, or I road dogged it for 20 years to learn how to do this, and then I became a huge success, The fact of the matter is the ones that really, I think, set themselves apart are the ones that can just get up on stage and not be doing an act, just having fun. Just talking to the audience and making them laugh. That's what I think sets the truly great ones apart.
Yeah, because people want to think that they're being included in on the fun that
they're just hanging out with the comedian. They're not at a show. They want to feel like, hey, we're just a bunch of friends sitting around.
And they can relate to what you're saying. Mm-hmm. You're not having individual or a specific life unto yourself, which is funny. Mm-hmm. That you can relate a lot of things that you have in life that I went through the same thing. And actually, that is kind of funny what happened to me. And that's why we do the show the way we do. It's unscripted and it just comes out the way it does. I don't care how it comes out. Right. It's going to come out good.
Yeah. Oh, and I'm having a blast. This is great. I love
Are you having fun?
I really am. Yeah.
Are you?
This is actually...
Which leg do you want me to rub now?
The middle one.
Wait a minute.
You see
I'm sitting next to John.
I had to get my own water.
I'm bisexual. I only have sex twice a year.
Well, you're miles ahead of me, man.
You're done.
I don't know.
What you used to do all night.
That's true. Why do you get on the road more? That's the only way it seems to work out.
So
on the road, you get laid more?
By definition, so far, yes.
There are guys watching right now.
1 to 0, there's more. Yes.
I'm practicing with his Mr. Microphone that got found in the basement box. I was in the living room.
I will say this though,
everybody in there, Daddy, what are you doing? I'm going to be funny. And get poontang.
Yeah, don't do it for that. Don't get it
Really?
for that.
I
usually
I wouldn't.
no, that's not
Because mine don't work
well. Don't
after ours. It doesn't work anymore.
The two things I've always been told is you should never get into comedy for the money because there won't be,
Yeah.
and there isn't.
Yeah.
And you should never get into comedy because you want to be famous or get laid all the time, or whatever.
Because
That's, you won't survive. It is. I mean, it's like any other career. It's not just something you can kind of go do as a hobby and then get famous.
But do you functionally say that I've got to make it? See, if I were to do it, I would say, yeah, I'm going to try it. I know I'm good. It's going to happen. For example, let's parallel say the show. All it takes is one person on a network, someone big enough to say, that thing's good.
Sure.
I want it, yank it, it's going to go to New York. That's all it takes. And that's why we put it out there all the time. Same thing with you. But if it doesn't make it, I'm okay. I'm all right. Because if I would be trying so hard on it, you would see the effort in me. And I don't want anyone to see the effort
Watch
in me.
our behind the show scenes, please.
You're right. Oh, yeah. And for $5.99.
And NoLimitsRadioTV.com.
And you can get into our chats, our three-way chats for $5.99 a month.
Yeah,
If you pay $6.99, you don't have to watch it all.
Bitch slap. It's been bitch slap city the last 3 days. I'm not going to bring it up because it'll just start a little quandary amongst you girls, but God,
We were the ones worked up.
we're very funny. I think funnier off stage, but God, we literally have hated each. You go, we never fight. Yes, we do. You're swearing at me and stuff.
You're the one that fights with us.
I
I
fight.
just sit there.
You get all worked up and
Yeah.
we're like,
And then I go hide in my closet.
You hide. Brittany goes, and then she'll shoot her like a pink unicorn out.
Are you
And that
done?
means I'm hiding. All right? And then Candace, all of a sudden, it's going for a little bit, and then a big freaking tirade.
And Candace, like,
starts with
you-
David and
yeah,
Kat.
tirade.
David, but you just apologized to Brittany, so she'll come back.
Don't do that. Don't this and that. Don't do that. Don't.
I tell you what, that's
at least I bullet pointed for you.
Are you talking about like in text messages?
Yeah. We have this Facebook Messenger thing that is
Well, you were talking about.
it's been going for like 5 months.
You were talking about, I was talking about earlier about dating those young girls, and that's like, that was one of the things too. Like, I went out with this one younger girl who was 22, and text messaging was insane. Like,
All the time to you?
Oh my God, dude. I don't even know what her voice sounds like. I can tell you what font she uses in her text.
How'd you feel?
Well, the thing is,
You all the time?
and the thing is, I'm not against it. Just because I'm over 30 doesn't mean I don't text. I do. I text all the time. But when you're over 30 and you text, you use like words.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, now
I was out with my guy friends one time. This is the exact message I got from her. Said, "OMG, you make me LMFAO." All right, that's cool. Then it went on to say, ASAYGT, CMRB, LOL, smiley face. I'm like, what the hell? I get really mad at my guy friends. I'm like, which one of you idiots changed my phone to German? I'm like, it's not cool.
You're like Googling it.
Yeah, I'm like, what does this mean?
What does this one mean?
Do you ever come back and just type H5674 and then go that?
Not anymore because
And then do a double for him?
she wisened up and stopped.
Or just a
messaging me
moving
entirely,
penis?
but, no,
You know, I think that would be the highest thing for a guy to have a 21-year-old texting you. You can't understand it because it's not important. It's not important what a 21-year-old chick says.
John wants to connect in other ways.
Our intern is
Yes, that's definitely it. That's definitely it.
She's also flashing me gang slogans.
Oh, is that what that was? Okay, I would. Yeah. Oh my God, she just did.
Come around.
Whoa! No, I don't want to get shot. I don't want to yell. I don't know. This could be like color Tupac down here.
I want you to meet our
Is that only your
intern.
hair? It's also the ocean.
Come on.
Yeah, right. I don't need to drive by later. Thanks a lot, guys.
Hi, the camera. Interview. Hi, you are?
I'm Shannon.
This is Shannon, and she's one of her first interns coming in, amongst others. And she was back there, and I said, she's giving us time, which they normally do. And then we did the gay slogan, and that was a real crypt one. I grew up in the south side.
I don't want to do it.
Can you do it again?
I'm not gonna
Do it for the fact. Come on.
I don't think
Come on, baby.
Yeah, it's from that.
I feel like
She's from Chicago.
I feel like with this whiteness we all are, if we make a gang, there's an alarm that's going to go off in a gang member's house somewhere.
Yeah.
Like, hey, we got to get on this right.
It's gonna pick up on Google.
Right?
So
You're in your
yeah.
20s,
Like
right?
Ghostbusters running up to the door.
She's 19. Can you do the lips?
Pardon?
The lips, your Facebook picture.
Full of the duck lips?
Something.
Yeah, I don't know.
You do them?
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah, I guess
Don't put me on the spot or anything.
Back me up here. Have you have you heard about this dad bod situation?
Yeah, I don't understand.
All right, it's real though, right? This is a real thing.
I've heard this.
Yeah, these young girls got together like this a year or so ago on Facebook or wherever they meet. I don't know. And they decided it was going to be hot now in guys. It was a guy that looked like he was in the mid-30s, a little bit of like a gut, but worked out a little, maybe drank beer occasionally. And they're going to call it dad bod. It was going to be hot.
Yeah, what about mom bod?
Right? Yeah, well, I was really excited about it. Yeah, so like, I thought I nailed it, you know? I was really excited. Until I realized it was probably just a clever way for these girls to keep the creepy guys like me out of the gym while they're working on their real life. You can go. It's good. We're calling it dad bod. You don't have to come back. Fine.
No, you're hot. You're perfect.
You're good the way you are. Don't ever come back here, please. Ever.
Go have a beer.
Go have a beer.
Then when they're 50 plus, and they're 50 plus too,
Yeah.
they all have pictures of flowers and poodles.
I couldn't believe it though. I actually saw this like, are you kidding me? Like they really made it? All right.
I've never seen it, so that's why I'm acting surprised.
It's a real thing.
I have seen the dad bod thing.
Will you send it to me?
Yeah, I got it.
For $5.99.
Yes, I'll send it to you. I'll find it for you if I remember.
All right. How many minutes we got, Shannon?
Folks have been.
7.
7.
We got 7.
This means 6.
So, you are part of, tell us all your stuff that's going with LaughFest that you have coming up.
Yeah,
If
absolutely.
someone wants to see you, wants to maybe whisper in your ear after the show,
I will be.
I'm a fan of that, by the way. He checked in late. I do like that. Yeah, absolutely. Well, you can go to jonhousercomedy.com. It's Jon. There's no H in my first name, so it's JONHOUSER comedy.com. You can go there. It has a list of all the shows I'm doing. But for LaughFest specifically, I will be doing mostly the amateur showcases that Wendy was talking a little bit about. Some of the free ones, you get the fast passes. And I really encourage you, if you're going to go out to any of those showcases, number one, you should. Because as I said, some of these comedians, these young guys that are local or from areas, Lansing, Kalamazoo, they're tremendously talented. And there's so many of them. It's really a fun thing to check out. It's free shows. So I would really encourage you to check any of those out. But definitely get those fast passes because they will sell out. I mean, that's how much fun these things are. But
They have timers on it, don't you? When you go there, they have little timers on.
On what?
On the clicking on the tickets.
you're talking about Disney.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's something else.
But so I'm doing several of the semi-pro showcases. I think. If I remember correctly, I believe I have a show the 11th. I'd have to look at it. I think it's the 11th, the 12th, the 14th, 15th, 16th, and 17th.
Okay,
So there's several opportunities.
Lots of opportunities.
Yeah, and those are the showcases. And then, like I said, this Wednesday, which is going to be March 9th, is the show at the Log Cabin, which I produce, and I'd love to have you guys come out.
Can we come out?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and that's every week.
It's once a month.
Once a month.
Usually the first
I've
Wednesday
been to
month.
that one.
Yes, that's a
Will you point to us in the crowd and say the 3 misfits are here?
I'm sure we can work something out.
No, I don't. I just want to be anonymous. I want to
Well, you're with me? You're my date.
No, if I'm
You're my
crowd
morning date.
with a comedian, I don't want to be pointed out.
Yeah, you'll be fine. But that's going to be a really good show, and we're raising money for Gildas Club at that show too. And actually, headliner is a young lady by the name of Emily Galati, who has participated in LaughFest before. She's been on Last Comic Standing. Very funny, from Chicago as well. Very funny young lady. So that'd be a good one. And then, as I said, there are the Sunday Night Funnies LaughFest shows, which I want to say are the 13th and the 20th. Those 2 Sundays. Go to either one of those. Again, those are free shows. We raise a lot of money for Gildas Club.
And where are those?
That's the Sunday Night Funnies at the Riverfront Hotel on Ann Street, just north, right off of 131 there, just north of town.
Okay, cool.
As I said, last year we raised almost $5,000, and it's because so many people come out and do the auction stuff. So please come out. I'll be on the March 20th show for that one, and I'll have some.
And truly, you've got to see him. He is funny.
I appreciate
The man is funny.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
But there are some videos on my website, and like I said, that has the best schedule on there. And I do also offer sponsorships as well to my Log Cabin show. You get free tickets. We mention your name and your business at the show. We put it on the website and do some advertising. So some great information on the website. You can find out all about that. Like I said, it's jonhousercomedy.com. That's JONHOUSER comedy.
Yeah.
And bookmark it now.
Yes, bookmark it. Visit it. I like to track the views. That helps me get more gigs. And there's some videos you can check me out on there and all that stuff too. So.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And if you're going to go see John, make sure you have just an extra hotel key that you can
Yes, that's right. Yes.
him, and that he doesn't have to do the embarrassment of knocking on the door.
Right.
That's the wrong room.
Well, it was funny because when I eventually did go and knock on the door, and I was finished, I knocked on the door, and I was like half hour later because I said goodbye to everybody, and I ran into some other fans that had some good marijuana. So it was like a half hour later, and she opened the door, and she said, "Oh, I was about to give up on you." And I started to say,
"Are you kidding?"
Yeah, I started to make an excuse, and then it was like one of those scenes out of the movie. She just reached over and grabbed me by the collar.
Yeah,
and into the room.
cartoon.
Yeah, like I just disappeared from the hallway of the hotel.
Yeah. And all you see is your feet going like Fred Flintstone.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Now, what was she wearing?
She was wearing a bathrobe at that
Just a bathrobe. And now you're a 21-year-old texting you. Comedy works.
That's why I mean,
pays and
hey, you know, if you eat enough crap for long enough, you might get a tasty treat. Yeah. No, I couldn't be happier. I've had an absolute blast. Everything I've done in comedy, LaughFest is always one of my favorite things to do.
And isn't that what life's about?
Yeah, it really is. And I'm so happy you guys brought me on here because it really has been fun, and I love doing it.
Did you expect this from us? Or
well, I mean, I've seen some of your other stuff, so I kind of knew what you were about.
he knows me.
Yeah, and I know Candace for
Of course
5
he
years,
knows
so
good
yeah. I was happy to do it, and I'd love to come back anytime.
Would you? Great. And we're going to come see you at Jon with an O-N. Jon Houser, H-A-U-S-E-R.
H-O-U.
H-O-U, the German way.
Yeah.
Sure.
H-O-U, with no umlauts.
Yes.
No umlauts.
House with an R at the end of it.
House, the Clubhouse.
Yes.
Comedy.com.
Yes.
Right.
Yep, JonHouserComedy.com.
And LaughFest, March 10th through the 20th.
Yeah.
And,
We're going. When are we going to be there?
I don't know. We got.
March 16th.
March 16th. We will be at the Bob, and so
Post-game.
you can come see us there. We're gonna be there. We're gonna be
you
there
can
during
meet us
Club Red.
personally.
During Club Red at the Eve before the show, which is
Right.
Best of the Midwest. So we'll be there before the show at the reception for Club Red.
And our interns may be there, yes. But I do want to say I'm getting security. I'm working security. I'll take care of it. Yeah, we do get security because sometimes drunk guys come up and
Okay, well, we gotta wrap it up. So check out our website, NoLimitsRadioTV.com, and we'd love to see you on Facebook and Twitter and
write us anytime.
Instagram.
Yep.
And now Instagram.
You want
Thanks a lot.
Instagram. All right, thanks a lot, everybody.
Bye.
Take care.